morning, I am actually way out on the northwest side of Indianapolis. I just got off of I-65 here on Whitestown Parkway, amazingly enough, to stop at a Starbucks to get a coffee this morning, on my way to the city that we're going to talk about in this video. Now, this is a place that for years and years and years, people didn't think about it very much who lived in Indianapolis or people moving to Indianapolis. Now, of course, if you lived in this city, you thought about it quite a bit because you lived there. But since this whole area has really blown up, this Whitestown Parkway used to be not necessarily a ghost town, but pretty close. It was kind of just a stop before you got into Indianapolis and before you got to 465, or if you were on your way out and you needed to get some gas for trucks, people traveling, going up to Lafayette on I-65. But now, here on Whitestown Parkway, there's just about every single thing that you could possibly need on a daily basis. I'm standing right here next to a Chick-fil-A, there's a Ross, there's a TJ Maxx, Culver's Petco, there's a Lowe's across the street, tons of gas stations, car dealership. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff around here. But just under 10 miles from here is one of those cities on the outside of Indianapolis that's really begun to take off. And it's a place that in the past couple of years, me being a real estate agent, going to different new construction neighborhoods, existing homes, I've started to poke my way into this city a little bit more. I'm talking about Lebanon, Indiana. And we're gonna get into just a few of the details about this place and how it could potentially be a fit for you in this video, so stay tuned. All right, just got off I-65. It didn't take that long to get from where I was in Whitestown, Indiana, to get here. And I got off on State Road 39, the very first exit for Lebanon, off 65. But you can also get off on State Road 32. Now, State Road 32 is actually really familiar to me, less with State Road 39. And State Road 39, State Road 32, both of them are going to get you right where I'm standing now, which is essentially in the town square, the city square. It's not a town, but a city. And you can see the courthouse behind me and the square in the downtown area of Lebanon. It is super, super cool. Now, it's not the only place with a really neat downtown that has, over the past 20 years or so, become a lot more popular, because some of these cute little downtowns with some history and some neat shops, some very unique restaurants, they've become much more popular. And people gravitating back to this to develop a little bit more of that cultural heart to wherever it is that they live, and kind of eliminate, at least an effort to eliminate, that suburbia feeling of just cars and streets and houses, and that's about all you see, except for an occasional strip mall here or there to get your grocery store or some other restaurants or something like that. Yeah, super cool little restaurant here. We've got some seating back in the alley behind me. So this city, though, given its location around Indianapolis, actually I'm going to cross the street here to get a little closer to that courthouse. And the streets here, by the way, are awesome. Pavers, super cool right here on the square, the downtown area. And they're mowing the grass, so it's super green. It's really lush. It's nice. So this isn't a place that I would say is exploded completely. So Hamilton County, where Carmel is located, and Westfield, which are kind of the cities that are closest to Lebanon, other than Indianapolis. And then you can get a little bit to the south and the west, where you get into Zionsville, smaller town, although roughly twice as big as Lebanon. Lebanon, 20-ish years ago, had maybe 14,000 people in it. And today, when this video is being made in 2023 and pushing into 2024, we're looking at 17,000 people or so. So percentage-wise, that's actually a pretty big bump. But actual number of people, that's not a huge increase, going from 14,000 to 17,000. So exploding, I wouldn't quite say that. I would say places like Whitestown, which I just came from, and only roughly 10 miles to get here. So 10 or 15 minutes down the highway. That has absolutely exploded. Westfield's exploded. Zionsville has grown, and of course Carmel has grown a tremendous amount in the past 20, 30 years. Lebanon, though, is on its way. This is one of those kind of this category of last cities outside of Indianapolis that hasn't really been swallowed up by a lot of the expansion and the growth. And this one's a little bit far out here, I think, for that gap to really, truly, completely fill in. And I think it would take a long time to actually have something like that happen. But if you want to live in a city like that, it's close enough to Indianapolis to where you could go there. If you had to work in Indianapolis, it might be a little bit tougher because of your commute and the distance. The thing that I usually say to people that want to live in one of those cities, or at least find a place like this, if you move to Lebanon, Indiana, or you move to Danville, or you move to Franklin, or you move to Greenfield, you are probably going to live in Lebanon, Indiana, or any one of those other cities. So in other words, you're not just going to pop into Indianapolis or really some of these other cities and towns close by all that often. I mean, it's not like you're going to do it every single day unless you have to for work. Most of the time, like on a weekend, you get up in the morning and you think, oh, I just really don't feel like driving. I don't feel like driving 30 minutes anywhere or 40 minutes anywhere. I'm just going to stay home. And that's what people oftentimes do in cities and towns like this. And so you need then in that place everything that you're going to need, of course, on a daily basis, like grocery stores and some of the standard shops that you're going to find all over the country. And of course, Lebanon has all of those things. You're not going to be short on that. But you are just probably going to live a great percentage of your life there. Now in Lebanon, Indiana, where I'm at right now, this is old Lebanon. You can get out into some of these neighborhoods and you can get into some really old houses where the houses are going to be 100 years old, or sometimes a little older than that, and sometimes a little bit younger than that. And that kind of house and charm is great for some people, but some people don't want to take on that kind of project. So what kind of options are you going to have here in Lebanon, Indiana? Right along Meridian Street in what I would consider the heart of Lebanon, downtown Lebanon. And this is where a lot of those old homes exist. So you can find lots of 100-year-old homes, 80-year-old homes. And of course, that comes with, as I said, a lot of maintenance and repair work and all that, but also maturity and some of the big trees. Good grief. That is an enormous tree. Obviously dead and been cut up quite a bit, but that's one of the things that you have to deal with when you get into super mature neighborhoods. And then streets that just are really pretty, especially during the spring, summer, fall, and even the winter too. It can be, just looks a little barren, but like this street right here, you have nice beautiful sidewalks, nice landscaping, and some really well-kept homes. It's not like it's all that way though. And of course you have some homes through this area that aren't as well kept, but some are. Some people love living in a location like this in a small city where it's fairly walkable. And like I said before, you've got everything that you need here on a daily basis. If you keep going this direction on Meridian Street, you're going to hit the Walmart. There's a Kroger, there's Dairy Queen. I mean, anything that you can possibly think of. Ulen Country Club is just up this road as well. And from here, it's actually probably walkable. You certainly ride your bike. Somebody just screamed through here on a golf cart a minute ago. Not from Ulen Country Club, but it's the golf cart as in that's how I'm traveling around my neighborhood, which here in the past few years has become so incredibly popular, especially in a lot of master plan communities where you just get around within it for the most part in your golf cart. So this street that I'm coming up here right now on, it's East Chicago Street, and just the trees are in my way a little bit, but just off in the background I can see really the square and the courthouse behind me from this location. So super, super cool, but very old and very different. So as I mentioned, what are you probably going to get in a city of 17,000 that is growing a little bit when you don't want this? Or of course, if you're looking in this part of Lebanon and there's just really not that much available. And what are your options going to look like? Ooh, it's super sunny out now. I got my shades on. I can't really see, especially going this direction. This is what you're probably looking at when moving to Lebanon. So those mature homes, mature neighborhoods, you can certainly get into that, but that's a whole other animal. And if you want to take that on, that's fantastic. But at any given time, how many of those homes are actually going to be on the market? How many are you going to have to choose from? What kind of condition are they going to be in? So a lot of people, and the choices that they make, and in my own anecdotal experience here in the last few years visiting Lebanon with clients, this is what we're looking at. New construction options. This happens to be a Fisher Homes neighborhood, and it's exceptionally nice. There's actually room to expand out a little bit further from it. There's a home that's completely under construction just down the street from where we are right now. It's where a lot of those trucks are, right back there behind me. But this one has a tremendous number of homes that are already finished. And what's cool about, and I think this happens in a lot of small towns, it doesn't happen as much in some of the other suburban cities and towns that surround Indianapolis, although maybe a little bit. But when you find new construction neighborhoods in a place like Lebanon, most of them, they're not way out there, super far from the city center or where everything's really happening in that particular city. This neighborhood in particular, I would say from where I was looking at some of the older homes close to downtown Lebanon, very close to the square, it's pretty walkable here. Now it's going to take me maybe 15 minutes to walk down this way, but I could easily ride my bike, and it's definitely not much as far as a car ride's concerned. So if you think new construction, I don't want to just feel like I'm way, way out there, which does and can happen in a lot of places. Most of these new construction communities around Lebanon's still not big enough to feel like you aren't packed in, or at least close enough to that cultural heart of the entire city. I'm over in Lebanon Memorial Park now, and this park is absolutely gigantic, especially for Lebanon. Plenty of playground equipment over there. Got the Seashore Water Park right behind me, which is closed right now because it's September when this video is being shot, and after Labor Day usually pools close. Sometimes they stay open a little bit longer than that. That's pretty common across the entire Midwest. I can just see Uland Country Club right off to my left, and then we've got some pickleball courts, tennis courts right back over here. They're actually not really tennis courts anymore. Pickleball has exploded so much, but this is a pretty good example of an awesome park in Lebanon, and that's one of the questions that people ask a lot of times. What's there to do in this particular city? And there's always going to be things to do seasonally, but concrete things that you could come to all year long. Are there parks? Are there walking trails? Are there places that I can just go walk my dog without being on a busy road? And Lebanon is full of those, not necessarily trails, but places that you could walk your dog, walk your kids, ride with your kids. And if you live nearby, like in the new construction neighborhood I was just in, you could ride your bikes right over here to Memorial Park. You have to be on some sidewalks and some side streets, but you could do it with your young kids just learning to ride their bike or having ridden their bike for a little while. So Lebanon, really cool small city outside of Indianapolis, but again, you are going to live in Lebanon if you live here. You could shoot up to Lafayette. You, of course, go down to Whitestown, Zionsville, Indianapolis. You could swing over to Westfield, but you're going to spend some time doing that. and driving over that way. But Lebanon is definitely a place that's getting on people's radar more and more and more. So if you have questions at all about Lebanon, Indianapolis, Greenwood, Franklin, Carmel, any of the cities and towns that surround Indianapolis, then make sure that you reach out. Contact information is in the description below. We'd love to be your choice for a real estate team to help you with your relocation to Indianapolis or within the whole Indianapolis metro. And we'll catch you in the next one.